Speaking Human.
This week on Speaking Human, we catch a buzz from all the extra bucks handed out by Starbucks. We diagnose some common mistakes companies should avoid, like the plague on their websites, and take a shot at the latest contributions from Amazon and Toys R Us to the tablet boom.
Speaking Human.
Welcome to Speaking Human, the official podcast of Monsters Unlimited. I'm Shad Conley, a man of many words and very little substance.
And I'm Patrick Jebber, a beastly fellow who loves cookie dough ice cream and Christopher Walken impressions.
Well, that, I would say, describes you to a T, Patrick. For those of you who haven't listened to the podcast before, we kick off each week by taking on the latest mortal marketing news, then unleash the fury of our superhuman review. In this week's review, we're going to stand on the side of a mountain holding a pair of tablets, screaming at our disciples. So let's get into it. Our first story of news is actually pretty fresh today, something that just happened this afternoon that kind of created a little bit of a stir. You want to tell the audience about it, Patrick?
Ah, yes. GoDaddy goes down for the count. A hacker group known as Anonymous, you might not know them because they are anonymous, they took down GoDaddy today. They basically attacked them. GoDaddy went down, all of their servers, basically anyone who was hosting through GoDaddy. I believe it's their website tonight, hosting account service their customers with. So it affected a lot of people, obviously. I don't have the exact count, maybe like 10, 11 people.
It's a large takedown, though. Is this the same group who has done a couple things in the past, I think, to Twitter? Is this the same?
I believe they did hit Twitter. They're also the people responsible for Bank of America, I believe it was, or it was one of the credit card companies, maybe MasterCard they did last year. I don't know if you remember that, where the MasterCard websites went down. And
I do remember that story. And now, does this group Anonymous, do they have a purpose, or are they just trying to show that they can take anybody down?
That's a great question, and actually something my wife was asking me today. She said, why do they do that? I was watching a piece on them about 2 years ago, I think it was. All these different programmers from around the world, right? Very talented. They come up with a cause and they go after it. They have really no one single solitary purpose, from what I understand.
It's interesting. It makes me think of the movie The Social Network, the part after Mark Zuckerberg has created that Harvard thing where you're comparing girls' faces.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's doing that, and he goes to that hearing, and he tells the people at Harvard, "You should be thanking me. I just pointed out all these holes in your security." GoDaddy goes down. You know what you could do, though? That'd be fun. It's a great story for writing headlines. There's going to be a lot of good headlines tomorrow. So anyways, moving on to our next story. Starbucks, the giant coffee chain you may or may not have heard of because they keep a fairly low profile, has been doing a lot of promos lately, getting their name out there for people who haven't heard of them. Last week, they did a Living Social deal, which was a $10 gift card for $5, which set some new records. I think they had like 1.5 million people went for that deal. And then at the same time, they're also offering the Starbucks Runner Reward, which is buy 4 drinks, get the 5th for free for the person grabbing coffee for the workplace. So, Patrick, let's talk about these promos. What do you think of them? Do they work? Do they drive customers? Do they get you new customers? Do they increase your sales? What's your overall thoughts on that?
What can I say, man? I love Starbucks, right?
Who doesn't love Starbucks?
I mean, somebody says they don't love Starbucks, I say, you're crazy. They always come up with new ideas to give back to their customers. This is what I love about them, right? They promote loyalty. And, I mean, in this case, they're actually driving more sales. I mean, why not let the guy who makes the Starbucks run for the whole office, why not let him benefit from it? Most of the time, let Johnny go get the coffee, and Johnny he doesn't get any coffee. Maybe he doesn't even have the money to get coffee. I mean, sure, this type of promo could work forever as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I think that's the benefit too. You're a lot of the times you're spending when you wouldn't necessarily. You're going to Starbucks when you wouldn't, and who knows, beyond that coffee, are you grabbing something to eat, something else like that? Maybe you think of Starbucks again the next week because you went last week and it was so good.
I don't see why they would not make out on that. They're selling 4 cups of coffee, which, so why not give a 5th one for free? And I mean, It's going to get people who were already going to go to get off their asses and go.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you said before you're like, they're giving something back to their customers. It pays off and, these things they do work to some extent.
And more than anything else, I believe things like this, it builds that trust in that brand. And that's what Starbucks is so good at, right?
They're kind of like the Apple of coffee. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's high priced, but it's really good. It's a good quality product. You usually get it, and you never usually regret paying $5 for it.
I've only once, and I'm being sincere, one time I had a bad cup of coffee from Starbucks.
I don't know if I've ever had a bad cup of coffee from Starbucks.
It was like we were like the last people of the night, and I think we got the bottom of the.
Hmm.
And the guy actually acknowledged the fact that the coffee wasn't that great. And here's the thing: horrible cup of coffee, but he gave us 2 vouchers for 2 free cups of coffee.
That's what customers want, value. Moving on to our next story. This one actually comes from a topic that started on a Monsters blog, Monsters Unlimited, a creative agency with a business brain, where we both work, Patrick. A blog that was put up at the end of last week discussing mistakes that a lot of business and organization websites make. Spurred a little bit of discussion, people talking about this, what drives you crazy that sort of business websites do.
Mm-hmm.
You want to share some of the things, a few things you can think of, Patrick, even from the blog, some of your pet peeves when you go to a website, what sort of drives you nuts that you see or mistakes that you see a lot?
Playing music on your site drives a lot of people crazy, and people will leave a site just because they hear the music come on.
Oh, absolutely. And especially if you have like your volume on your computer turned up.
We also talked about the external links not opening in a new window. Nowadays, it's just a new tab, right? Because the way browsers function today. The big thing are the pop-up ads still pop up in a new window. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, and I even have my pop-up blocker on, and I still get some of them sometimes.
Yeah. Probably another big one, the overly complex navigation elements, very long menus. You don't have to include everything under the sun of what you do in the top of your navigation. The hierarchy of your website is very, very important. It's the way people navigate around your site, so make sure that it makes sense, it's in order, and it's not long and overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think on that same note, you see a lot of these websites that are still around that are just stuffed with text and visuals, like any place you could possibly put it, and they shoved everything in they possibly could, and they've got page after page of text because they felt like they had to put everything on there. A lot of these companies, I don't even think they realize what a turnoff that is. You have a customer who comes to your site and you see something like that, that's an immediate, well, not working with that company.
Your website should be a tool to get people to call you, to get people to have a conversation with you. If your website is overstuffed, it actually can hurt you more than it can help you, because you want it to be a teaser, right? You want it to be something that gets them in, that catches their eye, but it shouldn't try to tell them everything.
Yeah. You want people to be like, this looks like a decent business, and then contact, learn more, go to the store, whatever you want them to do. So anyways, you can find that blog post and leave comments, about what you hate about websites, because everybody loves to talk smack on the web. Thinkmonsters.com, our blog.
Yeah, visit it today.
Do it now.
You're going to really like it.
Moving on to our last piece of news here before we get to the superhuman review. This one is Old Spice makes music with muscles. Patrick, you want to tell us what this is all about?
Oh, this is a good one, man. This is so good. I laughed. And it takes a lot for me to laugh. I'm a very serious guy all the time.
I've never even heard you laugh. I didn't even know you could.
So Terry Crews is the new face of the Old Spice marketing campaign. And in this new marketing campaign, he is, for a lack of a better term, unclothed for the most part. He basically does this crazy musical jam session in this very strange, whacked out warehouse-looking studio. Very funny.
It's almost impossible to explain what's actually happening in this video.
Yeah.
So you have to see it, so you should Google Terry Crews Old Spice.
Watch him jam solo, right? And he flexes his muscles, and he's playing these instruments by flexing his muscles.
These wild instruments, like the flame sax.
The flame sax, yes. And then they have an interactive player where you can record your own music. He's like a puppet, and you're flexing his muscles, and these instruments are going out. It's pretty funny.
This is really funny. If we were reviewing this, I'd probably give it 5 humans because it's so crazy and original, and it is. It's just fun. It has nothing to do with Old Spice whatsoever, but it's pure entertainment is what it is.
It's not like the one prior to this, the man your man could smell like. I mean, at least on that, they did have, even though it was so bizarre, they did have some relationship to smelling good, I guess. He was always holding the product. I don't even know if the product is in this video at all, is it?
I don't think it is.
I mean, maybe because it says Old Spice Danger Zone.
Yeah,
I'm
there's like an old computer or an old TV in the background of the video that says Old Spice Danger Zone, and that's it.
yeah, it definitely gets noticed. Whether or not they're building on their brand, I have no idea.
I feel like this is like the model that everybody tries to copy. Old Spice has somehow done this weird, funny thing so well. I mean, we're still even sitting here talking about Old Spice, and I don't know about you, Patrick, but up until like 10 years ago, you said Old Spice, and I thought of some container of oil sitting on my dad's dresser.
A container of oil. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I don't know, you know.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like some really old time product, but they've really taken this brand into like the 20th century, and it's just gotten what they do better than anybody else. And I mean, it is like the model for how to make a viral video.
Could you imagine sitting in a conference room with your client and pitching this idea to them? I mean, I can't imagine another.
They'd be like,
Right.
what?
Imagine yourself saying, we're going to have this guy sitting there flexing his muscles attached to these electrodes, and they're going to be playing musical instruments, but they're not going to be normal musical instruments. They're going to be like the flame sax. They'd probably look at you, they'd kick you out of their conference room. They would. They'd be like, you're crazy. Get out.
It's crazy, beautiful chaos. All right, are we ready to move on to the superhuman review, or did you want to talk about anything else, Patrick?
Cool, let's do it.
Let's go superhuman.
And now it's time for our featured
Review. Superhuman.
Okay, and this week's Superhuman Review is a little different because we're not necessarily talking about a particular campaign. We're talking about media is changing in general, and one big part of that is the tablet. And Patrick, do you want to tell us a couple things, a couple new news bites from the tablet that we'll be talking about this week?
Yes, Amazon Kindle has a new lineup. Basically, they are launching 3 different new ones.
Well, there's 4G LTE enabled 8.9 inch 32 gigabyte tablet for $599, which Amazon compared directly with the iPad.
Yeah, they launched this new line, and it's interesting. They're taking their tablets and they're trying to now kind of fall in line with the other tablets on the market, like the iPad, Samsung. And I mean, it's pretty obvious because they are comparable in price now. Consumers will get a higher quality product, I believe.
It's one of those things that I agree with you. It's good. Hey, good, more competition, great. But from Amazon's end, I don't know. I just don't think it's a great idea. I actually have a Kindle Fire. I like it. It's good for reading books and it's good for watching videos. Not all that great for anything else. It's terrible for surfing the web. I'm sure the new, more expensive model is better, but I can't see somebody putting a Kindle Fire next to an iPad and me selecting the Kindle Fire. It was good at its price point for doing these particular things and getting content from Amazon. But overall, as a tablet, is Amazon who you want to go to for your, all-purpose iPad-style tablet at $599? I'm not sure, man. I don't know that that's a great idea.
That's actually a good point. If I had the two sitting next to each other, like you said, I would probably pick the iPad. And Amazon's Kindle could be a great product, but for the price, if it was $100 or $199, that's a different story.
Yeah, and I just thought the first one, they were sort of targeting, hey, we're lower price. We have all these books, all these movies. You can get them right from us. Easy, it's cheap. I thought that was a good selling point, and I think that's why they took so much of the market. For now, them to just go and say, we're just competing as a standalone tablet. I don't know why anybody would necessarily choose them.
Now, I don't know this. Maybe you can answer this. Now, they are keeping the cheaper Fire.
Yeah. I think they'll still have a $199 version. Their point here, what do you think about? I feel like it's happened so fast with the tablets where they've just flood the market. Everybody's making them. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, apparently there's a need for them. Do I think that it's a bad thing to flood the market? Flooding the market with junk, I'm not a big fan of.
I guess in order to get things in people's hands, not everybody has $600, obviously, to blow on a tablet.
Right.
And from the marketing end, though, one of the benefits they say of the tablets now is higher income owners. You know, the people on tablets. The big thing is they're more likely to watch video, and they are a higher income consumer. Is who you're sort of reaching with that. So, how do you think the tablet is going to impact marketing moving forward?
From an entertainment standpoint, it's great. People on their tablets sitting in front of televisions watching a show, but then interacting with that show.
There's also a lot of stuff, you know, you're willing to look at on tablets, I think, that you wouldn't be on your computer. Because you're using it in sort of a different, more casual way. So you're
Yeah, they're
more
consuming
likely,
the media.
exactly, you're more likely to watch video. Even there's stuff I get in my email, I'd be more likely to read on a tablet whereas on a computer, I'm just like delete.
Yeah, I'll find myself, I'll save an email just because I'll know later on I'll probably read it on my tablet when I'm sitting, like having a cup of coffee in the evening or morning or whatever, you know. It's almost like reading the paper.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Now let's take a minute and talk about the other thing about the Amazon that was kind of a controversy was they didn't announce plans to block ads before they had given people the option of paying a fee and they could remove the special offers that would pop up. Whereas I think even on some of the cheaper Kindle Fire versions, you had to deal with the ads as buying it at the lower price. Became sort of a controversy to the point where Amazon came out and said, no, you can pay a $15 fee and you'll be able to remove the special offer. What do you think of that capability where you're paying out to opt out of ads, essentially?
So this is the part of the Amazon plan that I hate. I mean, I hate it. I thought a lot about this before the podcast. Here's my problem with this whole plan that they've got here. It'd be one thing if you were buying a tablet that you just paid $199 for, and they lost $19 on that tablet. Opt out, $15, $10, $5, whatever it is. But now they're charging people $500, $600 for a tablet, and they're obviously making money on that hardware. I mean, somebody tells me they're not making money on that hardware, I want to see numbers. I want to see what it takes to build that thing. And if you're making money on that tablet, and then you're telling somebody that you just bought a $600 piece of equipment and I have to then pay extra so that I don't have to see your ads, that would really...
It's crazy. You know, it's kind of like we said before. It is. I agree with you. It's like you're okay with it when you're getting a cheaper product. You're like, all right, I know I'm getting this product for a lower price for my willingness to put up with these ads. Am I cool with that? But when you're charging people, $500 and you're saying you have to pay not to have these ads pop up, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Why not just say you turn it on by default, and if you want to turn it off, turn it off? I mean, why do you have to charge somebody $15? That to me is like just raking you over the coals to get more money. I mean, like, really? You really need the extra $15 from me? I just spent $600 on a 8.9-inch 32 gigabyte tablet.
Yeah, or separate them. You could just be like, all right, we have the same exact model, $100 less, but it has these ads on it. Let the customer make the choice. Do I want these ads? Don't even give them the option to remove it. Just be like, if you want to pay $100 less, you can get this version with the ads. I mean, Amazon would make enough money on the advertising; it'd probably work out for them. I mean, as a site, as a business, I really like Amazon. Let me ask you if something else makes sense. There was another big tablet announcement this week, Patrick, which I know you're excited about. The new Toys R Us is taking on the tablets with their Tabio, which is an Android tablet for kids. So what are your thoughts on that, Patrick?
I think my exact words were, it's junk wrapped in junk. And if that doesn't describe my distaste for this thing, I don't even know what it does, because, they've really just shown screenshots, and the screenshots are really 3D mock-ups of this thing. I've not seen one. I've not seen anybody playing with one. I've only seen what's on their website, because I went to see it. What is this that they're going to market to little kids, basically, right? Toys R Us. It's junk, man. It looks like a big piece of junk, right? It's like...
What do you really think?
This is what drives me crazy right now. I have kids, right? I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. We've bought enough of these things to know. I mean, why do I want to spend $150?
Well, that's another thing I don't even think we mentioned. The price point, $150.
It's a little mini tablet, right? And for some kids, this might be great. But what I hate about the fact that they're promoting this thing is like it's a little tablet for kids. That's just what I need as a parent. I need another one of these pieces of junk sitting around my house. And they'd probably be happy with this thing. But it's $150.
Yeah,
It's not like they're selling
Why
this
not
thing.
buy them a Kindle Fire?
Yeah. You can tell I'm pretty passionate about this.
It's one of those things. It seems like a pretty quick cash grab. $150 is what's kind of hard to swallow with this. You know what I mean? Maybe if they made it like 75 or $100, you'd be like, all right, it's crap, but it's cheap crap. When you're talking about something that costs the same as actual better tablets that you could just give to a kid. I mean, what's the difference whether they're breaking a $150 piece of crap from Toys R Us or a quality product?
Like one of the main marketing bubbles that they have on the site is preloaded with 50 plus top apps, including Angry Birds and Cut the Rope. Are you kidding me? Like a 99-cent app? The other 48, because they only named 2 that are popular, the other 48 are going to be like, Run Through the Jungle with Tom, or going to be junk.
Yeah. Anybody who knows apps knows that they're not all good.
If they wanted to name a whole list of them, they could have, but they didn't because they know that the rest of them are junk. If you're going to promote 7,000 plus more free games, books, and educational programs, they're probably not that great.
I'm getting the impression you don't care for this product.
No. Okay, so here's my other problem. It's Wi-Fi and HDMI. Okay, let me just say something. Why does a little tiny kid need HDMI? I mean, really? What are they going to hook it up to the television? High def movies? I mean, really?
So we know you don't like the product. And the product is, I will say, subpar. It doesn't look like much. But do you think the idea of creating a tablet for kids is a good idea? Or you think that's crap?
I think it's junk. I'm just kidding. I think that there's a place for kid-friendly tablets, but you said it perfectly, man. This is just a cash grab. If this was $30, I would give them something like this, right? To kind of get them into how to use technology.
Like it should cost about $30, $35. I was just going to say the bottom line here, I think we've been talking about it all night. Value. What your price is and the product you're offering better sort of balance out.
Let's do our final reviews.
If we're talking Amazon, like I said, I was middle of the road on that one. They'd probably get 2 to 3 humans. Vitabio, giving it 1. So I'd say overall on this whole thing of what's happening, the latest news on the tablet, I'm going to give it 2 humans. Pretty low.
You know what? I would probably agree with you. I'd give the Amazon 2 humans. The Tabio, on the other hand, I'd probably take away a human. So this actually might get 1 human because of the Tabio.
Tabio kills everything.
The Tabio killed it for this tablet review, that's for sure.
Well, all right. We're done talking tablets. There you have it. Go out and get your Tabios, humans. Your human children need them. How else will they learn?
That's it for this week. You can find links to most of the topics we discussed today on our blog, thinkmonsters.com/stomp, or on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thinkmonsters. You can also email us with any feedback, questions, or topics you'd like us to discuss on the show at podcast@thinkmonsters.com.
We'll be back next week with more marketing chatter. Catch you next week, humans.
Humans.
Speaking human.